Morning. Jamie McGoldrick is the UN humanitarian coordinator for Yemen. He joins us now from Amman in Jordan. Very good to have you with us. It's really hard to imagine that this is still going on, isn't it? But there it is, the fact that Yemenis continue to kill their own on a massive scale.
Yeah, I mean, the crisis in Yemen is massive, and the numbers of people who are affected by it are unimaginable. 18 million people, and over that 7 million people who don't know how they'll feed their families tomorrow. Hospitals and schools don't work. There's 2 million children out of school, and the continued fighting all over the country, and now this most recent possibility of an attack on Hodeida port, which is the humanitarian lifeline for us to be able to serve the needs of up to 10 million people who are in acute need of support from us, both in terms of food, medical and other supplies.
And the Saudi-led coalition attack that you're warning of, I mean, have you spoken to them? Do they know the impact of this attack and what can be done to put a stop to it?
I mean, the crisis in Yemen has been going on for 2 years now, more than 2 years, and because of that, millions of people have been displaced, 3 million people in fact, and the unimaginable numbers of people who have been affected by this crisis. We continually to advocate to the parties involved in this conflict, both the coalition side and the Houthi Saleh side, that the civilian infrastructure and civilians must be protected against violence and the conflict. They should be spared the current and ongoing blatant disregard for that. The port of Hodeida has already been damaged. It's actually under-functioning. For us, we need it as an essential lifeline. For that to be cut off and for us to seek alternatives either cross-land, cross-border or other ports will be very problematic, very difficult, costly, and it will endanger lives at a time when there's serious food situation here, where there's a threat of famine at some point this year if the current conditions continue.
All right, we've heard warning after warning. Yours is the latest. What can realistically be done? I mean, you do wonder how many people have to die for both sides to put a stop to this.
Well, I think a feature of this war is obviously the civilians have borne the brunt of all the attacks here for the most part. At the same time, neither side actually gives a great concern to the humanitarian dimension. It's about political interest, regional interest, whatever the case may be. And what can be done is the war to stop. That's as simple as that. I mean, the sides have got to get back to the negotiating table and start to talk out of this and put their narrow political interest, regional interest aside, and deal with the problem that faces millions of people in this country who deserve an awful lot better from all of us, the international community aside. And secondly, we have to get more resources. I mean, we're currently only under 20% funded of our appeal. There's an event next week in Geneva, a pledging event at the ministerial level, where we hope that we can actually encourage the international donor community to see Yemen in a better light, to see it in a more favourable light, to give it what it deserves, which is a life for its people, a life for its future, and to give the humanitarian community the resources to respond properly, because more and more people will die because of that, either through malnutrition or through lack of health support and other diseases that seem to wreak this land.
Well, Jamie McGoldrick, thank you very much. I hope they're listening. Thank you for your time.